I've been getting more and more requests to do a video on day-to-day life in Hong Kong, living and street life, things like that. So here we are in the MTR station. This is how my day starts. Usually I will take an MTR to get to my job. Today my job is going to be in Choi Hung, so it moves around for me. Sometimes I'm in other places, so today we're going to do Choi Hung. So this is the mass transit railway station. What in New York is the subway, and London is the tube, but here we call it the MTR. So I just got off the train. You can see it's not too busy here because it's midday. So after you get off the trains here, you have to get out of the MTR station. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we're going to walk up through the housing estates and show you how people here in Choi Hung live. So if you notice, the announcements are in Chinese and in English for the locals and for foreigners. A lot of the locals here speak only English. Okay, so the MTR stations are 50% government owned, and they have partnerships with many companies to put businesses in the MTR stations. So when you're in the paid areas, there's usually no businesses, but sometimes even in the paid areas there are. Okay, so in this MTR station, most of the businesses are outside the paid area. If you notice, there's a Subway there, American chain, and then there's a Hung Fook. And there's quite a few others over there. There's a Photomax and a 7-Eleven, and then one place and a lot of banks. Okay, so the first thing you need to do to get out of the MTR here is we need to go through these turnstiles, and to do that we need an octopus card. So this octopus card gets you out of everywhere and in everywhere, so you just go and you scan it like so, and then you walk out the turnstile. So now we are in Choi Hung. There's quite a lot of exits here, so they all go similar places. It's all connected up above, but there's land bridges and things that you sometimes have to cross. So we're going to walk on out here and get out to the housing estates. You can see quite a lot of shops, and then each one of these exits will go to a different housing estate, and they all say where they go. I can show you the exit maps here. This is going to be exit A. There's quite a lot. I think in this MTR station there's about 10 different exits. This one is going to go to the Choi Hung car park, or it's going to go to Infinity 8, which is, as you can see, a mall/housing estate. And then there's another exit out onto Clearwater Bay Road and Ping Shek Road. So each exit has different ways out. Like in exit A here, you can go down this one, and that's going to take you to a shopping mall. Okay, so if you go out there to go to a shopping mall, and if you go out these, the shopping mall also has a wet market in it, and if you go out these, you can go up these steps and then either turn a right or a left, and it's going to take you out to a different set of housing estates. So you can see here, this is exit A1, and A1 is a list of housing estates and schools. There you go, in the bus terminus. And then A2 over here, a similar list, right, a little bit longer, for all the different places in English and in Chinese. It's a very foreigner-friendly place. So we're going to go out exit A2 and show you. It's a sunny day out, so I'm going to take a second here for the camera to adjust. Now this, right here outside the MTR station, there's a highway on my right and a minibus stop. So there's a lot of minibuses coming and going, these green minibuses up here, and people are loading onto those. Off on the left here, if you notice, we have a McDonald's. Yeah, it makes you wonder if we're even in Hong Kong. This is a little service road that the trucks can come and service all the businesses in the mall here. And they have loading docks down on the end. So there's a McDonald's, and then here's a dry goods store. Sells cereal and things like that. There's a 7-Eleven. And here's a new Sushi Express place with conveyor belt sushi. You can see the conveyor belt sushi in there going around. A lot of salmon and other things. Not too busy right now because it's a bit early for dinner and late for lunch. Nice place there to go and have some sushi. And then over here is all the housing estates. You can see all around us is housing estates. And this is how it is in most of Hong Kong. We have the businesses built into housing. So some of these big buildings are schools and some of them are housing. You can see in every direction. These massive towers. And then up above us, if you want to look up above us, it's massive towers up above us as well. Okay, built right on top of them all. And this is how it is. So you don't have to walk far to get to where you're going. All these are residential towers. You can see there's another one, big one behind this one. Back behind there, a different color. But it's all packed together. So you don't have to walk far for anything. Every one of these is like a self-contained community. They have schools, they have shops, they have housing, everything really that they need. They usually have their own police station and fire station. They have their own park. And here's a nice park. You can come and sit. There's quite a lot of these scattered all through these districts so that people can come and relax if they want to. Lately they're not as busy because of COVID, so people are reluctant to go to the parks, but every once in a while people will still go. When COVID isn't a problem, these are busy, or almost every seat's usually full. Okay. And then up there on my right is the minibus stop that I showed you before, and there's a long line of green minibuses that go all over this district in Hong Kong. So most of the districts in Hong Kong are a little too big for walking, and this one's no exception. Choi Hung is built on a lot of hills, so for you to walk from here up to the top housing estates would take about maybe 30 or 40 minutes, and it would be walking up a pretty steep hill for most of that time. Most people don't want to waste that much time in their day, so they're going to hop on one of these little minibuses and pay anywhere between 50 cents and $1 US, sometimes even less than that. And then that'll take them up to their estate. Okay. Once we get up to the estates here, I can show you those. So for right now, we're going to finish this one and then pick it up in a few minutes when I get up to one of the housing estates, and then I can show you the inside of the housing estate. So we just got off the bus. We headed up the mountain, took the minibus. You can still see the minibus sitting up there. Here it comes back down towards us. So they do a big loop here at the end of their route, and everybody hops off at the housing estates. There's numerous housing estates here. You can see this is typical of how the housing estates look in Hong Kong. This goes all the way down the mountain. We're at the top. So there's probably 10 different estates between here and the MTR that I passed on the way up. Each one of them has towers like this, and this is where the bulk of the residents in Hong Kong live, in these towers. And they're scattered all over Hong Kong. Hundreds of these estates, maybe thousands. I don't know, there's a lot. These green minibuses service the estates, so they come from the MTR and drop people off. Some estates are close enough to the MTR that you can walk it. A lot of the people who live here have cars, but the bulk don't. Most of the people will take minibuses. So, and some have motorcycles. You can see the motorcycle parking down there. So motorcycles have become a lot more common lately, especially with food delivery and traffic problems in Hong Kong. So all these housing estates have built-in parking, most of them underground, and then they have a few parking garages, sometimes above ground, and then around 40 to 70 floors of flats, of apartments. So the smaller ones are usually down around 500 square feet. The biggest ones are usually up around 900 to 1100 square feet, depending upon the estate. Most of these estates have built-in weight rooms, libraries, swimming pools, everything that you need. Some of them even have shops built into them, like convenience stores and things like that. Other ones, not so much. So these ones up near the top of the mountain don't have any shops that I know of, but they do have a lot of vending machines to try to cover people who don't want to go all the way down. So every time you want to leave these, there's a bus stop right across the way, and then there's bus stops here and there are bus stops up there. Every time you want to leave, you come out and either get a taxi, that's why you see so many taxis, or hop on one of these green minibuses. The green minibuses run about every 5 to 10 minutes, and you can hop on those for almost nothing and ride them down to the MTR. You can walk. Usually when I leave here, I'll walk back to the MTR because it's all downhill, but it's a decent hike. It's about 30 minutes of walking downhill, and right now that's okay, but in the summer when you're up around 33 Celsius or over 90 Fahrenheit, it's pretty miserable, and you have really high humidity, close to 100% humidity all summer long. So to walk from here down to the MTR in the summertime, usually you're going to be soaked in sweat by the time you get there. If you have to go to work, it's not really practical. So for me, right now it works, but later in the summer when I have to go and do different meetings all day long, it's not something that I do. I'll just take the minibus. You can see the people down there queuing up, lining up for the minibus right in front of that white car. Right now there's only about 4 or 5, but that's because the bus just went when it dropped me off. So pretty soon here you'll see another bus come up, another green minibus come up, and then just swing around, drop people off, pick people up, and off they go. Off on the right here is a park. So this is a government park hiking area up over the mountain. It used to be a landfill, and then they put a park over it. So now there's signs all over that say no unauthorized burning because they're worried about the gas coming up from the landfill. You don't smell it or anything like that. You wouldn't even know there's a landfill here if they didn't have signs. They've done a pretty good job of covering that up. So a lot of these areas in Hong Kong like this, like in Choi Hung, are reclamation areas. They used to be landfills, or sometimes they used to be mountains or dangerous areas. Sometimes they used to be oceans. They are constantly doing things to reclaim all this land so that they can get more land for housing. So in this case, it was a landfill, but down in the one where I live, down in Po Lam, it used to be ocean, and they're slowly but surely doing landfill and moving in more and more land until they can build on it. And they're doing that also in Chung Kwan O and Lohas Park and a few other places in Hong Kong. So Hong Kong's constantly expanding. They're getting a few square miles every year from doing landfill all over. This one up here, I'm sorry, I think I said it was a landfill. It is, but in US terms, that usually means a waste dump, which is what this used to be. It used to be a very, very large garbage dump. So that kind of a landfill, not the land reclamation type landfill. So this was a garbage dump for about 20 years, and then they covered it all up and put trees and shrubs over it all, and now it's a park. Well, pretty nice park too. They have all kinds of facilities here, good running tracks. It's pretty wonderful. When you go into these places, usually there's a lot of security guards. We don't have crime much in Hong Kong, and the reason for that is because of the security guards and the safety measures that they take. So not many people want to risk it. So here is the entrance. It's still just after Chinese New Year, so sometimes the entrances are something a little bit fancy. You can see the security guards over there on the phone and people coming out with their dogs. So there's entrances, a lot of different entrances for these, and they have art and other things around to make them more desirable. And then there's a little waterfall outside that you can see. Pretty nice. So these are just to entice tenants, to get more people to buy the apartments. So the property values here are high. For these apartments, most of them are going to run around 1.5 to 2 million US per apartment. You can get the smaller ones down around 1 million. So this is pretty normal for Hong Kong prices, and these are in high demand. At least they were up until last year. lately, because of COVID and the protests, it's starting to have an impact on property values, but not too much yet. We still have seen quite good demand, and the property values aren't falling much at all. They're pretty much just staying stagnant. After 20 years of growth at close to 20% a year, it's amazing. Okay, now that's why these small little 500 square foot apartments are worth $1 million US. So we're going to go ahead and walk inside, and then I can walk you around on the lobby level and show you how that works. So here comes the other minibus dropping off. They just dropped off some people. Now they're going to zip on by here. You see it's still loaded up with people, and then they're going to stop up there, and then they're going to get empty out. Some people here like to walk their dogs or just walk for exercise, and that's what you see all these people here doing for the most part. So, and then there are the buses swinging around, and then he's going to stop right there and unload about his last 10 people, and then go down a little bit lower to where we saw the line before and pick up all those people who are waiting. When you use those buses, you use the same MTR card, the Octopus card that I used to walk out of the Octopus, or walk out of the MTR earlier. You can use that same card for McDonald's and 7-Eleven and everything. You can load it at McDonald's, 7-Eleven, any supermarket, at the MTR. There's machines, automated machines that let you load it, and then you just carry it around. It can hold about 100, 150 US, and then you load money onto it, and then use that money for a week or two, and then load more onto it. It's pretty convenient because then you don't have to carry cash. So those cards are accepted all over Hong Kong, and the lack of crime makes it pretty safe to use those. So it's a good deal. Okay, we're going to head on in, and right now they have temperature screening at the front door because of COVID, and then we'll have to go in and check in at the desk because I'm a visitor here. I don't live in this one, and they'll take my name and call up to the guests that I'm visiting and let them know that I'm coming, and then they'll give me a pass and let me in. Different ones have different levels of security. The older estates and poorer estates really don't care who walks in and out. They do have security guards, but they don't do anything. They would never stop you. But here at these higher end ones, they will stop you, and they're not going to let me walk in unless I register. So all the good ones that have decent security are going to make sure that they direct you. So we're going to head on over here, and you'll see the guards point me to the front desk when I walk up there. And I have to go in and give them my name and register. So I'm going to turn off the camera here once we get inside. I don't want to film them without their consent. So, yep. Thank you. There you can see they have the advanced temperature screening. And then here we go. Here's the front desk, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so we have our pass now. We can go in. So I come over to the lift lobby here. They have elevators, and then you can hop on an elevator and then go up to the what we call the podium level. So hop in a lift. They're pretty nice. You can see high end, all mirrored. Pretty nice. That'll take us up to the third floor, which is their podium level. The first and second floor are for parking and for gym and swimming pool and a couple of other features of this particular housing estate. Sorry for the darkness, there's not very good lighting in here. So now this is the podium level. This is where you can actually access all the towers. You can access all the towers here. And then they have some art scattered all over for the residents. Now we're up on the third floor, but this is built on a hillside. So you can see there that the mountain goes up, up, up. It makes for a pretty good nature looks if you want, and hiking trails back behind. This is pretty busy right now for this place. Quite a lot of people walking in and out, but that's because there's thousands of apartments linked to this one door. So every time anybody's coming in and out, for the most part, they're using this one door. So if you go down there, that's where it goes down to the parking garage. So this thing that I'm walking in right now is also used for deliveries. They can bring delivery trucks up here for furniture and things like that. So a few people here do have dogs. This estate allows pets. So you can see this girl is walking in a dog. She's probably a domestic helper. Most of the families here have a Philippine domestic helper that will clean their flat and help their kids go to school and cook for them and walk their dogs and things like that. So you can always tell whenever they have the domestic helpers like this, they don't look like locals. So this girl is a domestic helper and she's walking the dog while probably the family's at work. So I don't like to show those people too closely without their consent, so we're not going to do that. But you can see the dog and you can see the way the life is here. So we're going to head on up to the unit that we're visiting today. Today we're doing a lesson and doing a short video for a school interview. And then after we're done with that, we're going to go on to the next class. But I'm not going to video any of the other estates today. So I'm going to show you this one. And then after we're done with this one, then I'm going to head back to do the rest of my lessons. And then later tonight, we'll do another video of another estate in a different part of the city that I have to walk through on the way home so that you can see what the low-end estates look like. So, okay, so thanks for watching, and then I'll be back with another video soon.